in Zeeland. It's our Feel the Zeal first Tuesday of the month. And on the other end of our Zoom connection, Kevin Klynstra, the mayor of the city of Zeeland, joins us. Kevin, good morning. Hope all is well. We missed you last month, but glad you're able to be with us this month.
Yeah, Gary, thank you. Good to be back.
Glad you are with us. If you have a question about what's going on in Zeeland, Kevin's a good man to ask. At 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Let me begin first, Kevin, by getting your thoughts about the public hearing and vote last night involving the application of a community development block grant that would help pay for maybe a quarter of the cost of installing snowmelt in downtown Zeeland. How did the meeting go in terms of the hearing, and then how did the vote go?
The hearing was pretty uneventful. We did not have any audience members, so we didn't have any comments from the public. So that part went really easy. And you are correct. Yes, it was. Hopefully, we can get this up to $1 million. For which we would apply to our snow melt, and it would be a nice grant to have. And of course, you're always happy to get $1 million if you can. And so hopefully they have 2 weeks to apply for it. So now that they have the okay from the city council, they can go ahead and apply for the grant.
One of the comments that Kevin Plockmeyer, the assistant city manager, made in his remarks to council before the meeting was the fact that this project, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, ticked all the boxes for what this grant was going to be all about. It's almost as if it's the perfect perfect project for getting a grant such as what Zeeland is requesting.
You are correct. Yes, we fit all the. Like Kevin said, and Tim Klunder said as well, we've checked all the boxes for this grant, and everything looks really good that we would be able to get it, and hopefully we do.
A frank question, Kevin Klynstra. Could this project go forward even without the grant? Was it planned without the grant, or was the possibility of getting such a grant figured in the development of this overall project?
We had planned to go ahead without the grant, so we just found out about this grant a couple months ago. So it wasn't going to deter us from doing the snow melt, but it will help. So as you know, everything has gone up in price, and construction companies have been charging more. Asphalt has gone up in price. You name it, it's gone up in price. So this will help deter some of those costs that we've had increased over the last year or so.
Has there been concern? And this might be more for Kevin Klunder. I mean, not you, but a Tim Klunder question more than you, Mayor Kevin Klynstra. But is there some consideration or some thoughts about, all right, the grant comes through, and the extra, the $1 million comes from Lansing. Do you then allocate funds that would have went to the snow melt that now doesn't need to go to the snow melt and maybe allocate it to some other things?
Yeah, we could do that. But at this time, when we apply for the grant, that we have to say what it's going to be used for. It's supposed to be used for gathering places, and that's pretty much what we thought the snow melt would fit into this stipulation in the grant.
Yeah, I'm just saying, once the grant's in place and it's accepted, and then that money from the state goes into the project, then some of the money that would have went to the project would be diverted to maybe some other capital ideas.
I see what you're saying. Yes, I don't think that will happen. Like I said, the prices have gone up from what our original cost estimates were. So I believe we're going to be needing all of that and maybe more.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those cases of let's plan for it and let's start building now. So we get the prices locked in instead of hoping maybe one day it can be done. Kevin, one other thing that was on the agenda from last night's meeting was a discussion about the strategic action plan and a performance incentive program. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, well, every year we have this strategic action plan that we have meetings for in January, and we decide what we are going to do for the year and how it is rated. We have a bonus system that if they in each action plan has a points with it, and if the staff and the rest of the employees complete these things that we have in the strategic action plan, then these points goes towards the bonus. And ever since we implemented it, it's been over 85%, I believe, that they've completed, and that's the amount they need to get the full incentives. So it's worked very well. It's something that everybody can work for together, and it seems to work well. So our Tim Klynstra last night said they might be tweaking it a little bit. We've had this in effect for a number of years now, and it might be time for a little tweaking to be done on it. But other than that, it's been going well.
Even during the 2 years ago, we had the COVID-19 outbreak, and maybe some of the goals that were established before the outbreak couldn't be met because, frankly, things changed, especially in the fiscal 2021.
Yes, that was probably the only year that we made an exception, and we decided to give the full bonus anyway, because of, like you said, it was things that they couldn't help, and plus they had a lot of other things to deal with COVID and all the different programs that they had to go through with that. So we decided that year to give it out, even though they did not meet the goal.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we won't have to ever worry about getting to that situation again. 616-395-1450 if you have a question for Zeeland Mayor Kevin Klynstra. Last week, a couple of nights, the council met with City Manager Tim Klynstra and staff to go over a proposed fiscal 2023 budget. What were some of the things that the spending plan had that maybe will be of impact, perhaps immediate, perhaps a little bit longer term, for Zeeland residents?
Well, we had it was kind of a capital project. It was had a lot of capital projects that we had to do. We have the mill and resurface of Main Street. We've got projects Plainfield and Plainfield Court, and so yeah, it's we're going to do some projects at Huizinga Park, add some more pickleball courts. So this is one of the first years that we've are dipping into our rainy day fund to help with some of these projects. So not that we we had more money in our rainy day fund than what we need, so we decided to use some of that while we can. And so yeah, it's a little more than what we're taking in, but because of good planning in the past, we have this extra money, and we'll be using that to complete some of these projects. Would
there be any concerns about possibly having to adjust the millage rates because of the fact that what you want to do and the costs of doing what you want to do might not jive? Let's just say we're talking in April right now. When we get to August, September, October, and you're already into the budget, you want to have that safety belt?
Yeah, it's like I said before, things have gone up quite a bit in costs, so it's nice to have that cushion that we can use. And this is the 1 year that we're going to use that cushion.
All right. As long as, again, as long as the constituents don't see a hike in their taxes, I think they're going to say, okay, fine. As long as we don't get the tax hike, because if there is, then you're going to have to do a lot of explaining to make sure that it does get through with them. One final thing, and then we'll get to a break, Kevin. What's the time frame for passing the budget in Zeeland? When does the budget need to be in place?
It was the first meeting in May. We will have a public hearing on the budget, and that our city manager and assistant city manager, Tim and Kevin, will present it to the public.
And we'll see what.
And the city council will vote on. The city council will vote on it that night to pass it or turn it down.
Yeah,
I would imagine. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'd be passing, because I think, in the many years you've been on council before you became mayor, has it ever been a case where you had to send the budget back to the city manager because it was rejected?
Not since I've been on. No, it's always it's something that we've talked about. So, we went, like you said, we had the budget hearings last week and talked to all the staff members. So we've usually have at least a month to think about it and talk to staff and make sure that everything is what they need, and make sure that they're not asking too much, which rarely happens. Their staff is very good about that they are very conscious about the money that they spend.
Good morning. You're on the line with the Zeeland Mayor.
Hi. I don't know if you can help me or not. We received a letter saying that they wanted to change our meter out on the side of our house. Do you know anything about it? If you do, are they putting in a smart meter so then they can monitor your heat/air? If they don't like it, like in the summer, they're telling you to turn the air down, and let's say people don't. Can they do it themselves? Same way with the heat. Turn your heat down. Can they turn your heat down? Do you know anything about that?
No, they are installing smart meters. You are correct on that, but it's nothing that they can control. It's pretty much so you can monitor it yourself to see how much use you're using, and if you're certain times of the day you can use electricity at a cheaper rate. So it's pretty much for the customer to use, and it also they can check as well, but they will not control your electricity as for your use.
Okay, because we all of a sudden we have another home. All of a sudden we didn't know anything about it, and there was a smart meter on it, and they can control it. And so when we received this letter yesterday, we're like, okay, so it's all about control, but they cannot do that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much for your help. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much for the call. 616-395-1450. Let's get one more call before the top of the hour. Good morning. You're on the line with Zeeland Mayor Kevin Klynstra.
Yeah, where are the road repairs going to be done on Main Street this year?
It's going to run from State Street to Fairview, and it's a mill and resurface. So it will be it'll be in this coming year's budget, but it might not be done until next summer, till 2023.
So you will have to close Main Street off completely?
Mill and resurface usually takes up it will be mill and resurface usually goes fairly fast. So they have a big machine that takes the top layer off, and then they resurface. It's not a complete reconstruct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the call. 616-395-1450. Past experience with mill and resurfacing, Kevin, is more the case of, it might be one day that it might be hands off, but
you are correct.
Yeah,
yes.
when it's completely rebuilt, then it takes a while. And of course, then Washington Avenue, will get a lot of the brunt of the traffic as people want to access downtown from the north part there.
And they went and closed it all off at the same time. You know, they do it in sections.
All right. Quickly. So we have about maybe a minute or so, Kevin. What big things are going on this month in April in the city of Zeeland?
Well, this month is cleanup month. So starting next week, they'll start picking up brush. You can put out brush and not leaves or grass. You're supposed to be just brush. And it'd be 4-foot long lengths. And the city will pick those up. And then I believe it is the Saturday, the 23rd, they will be having you can bring stuff to the landfills. So they will accept that for free. And they'll have a city person there checking your ID to make sure you live in the city of Zeeland, and a good way to get your house cleaned up a little bit in yard.
Yeah, spring cleaning, yes, a chore that needs to be done. Kevin Klynstra, as always, thank you very much for the time today and sharing what's going on in the city of Zeeland. Wish you, your family, and everyone in Zeeland well over the next month or so. And if all goes well, we'll do this again in about a month.
Okay, Gary, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kevin Klynstra, 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.